I'm going to try to beat Recroom's Stunt Runner without using my jump button. I have to beat all 6 levels with 3 minutes each without jumping. This includes wall jumping as well. Some quick rules before we get started. Number 1, I am allowed to wall run, but that doesn't mean I can jump off nor onto the wall. Number 2, bounce pads are allowed as I don't need the jump button for it. Number 3, the rank I get at the end doesn't matter, as long as I can beat each level under 3 minutes without jumping. Also, only about 15% of you guys are subscribed.
Bruh.
So if you want to join the minority, all you gotta do is press that button. It really means a lot to me and it's completely free. Anyways, let's get started. I've gotten S+ before, but that doesn't mean I'm any good at Stunt Runner, so this is gonna be a double challenge for me. I put myself on pink team as it's usually the fastest, but I soon realized it's not gonna be about speed. Now the first level is also the hardest level. I started off real confident, thinking this was gonna be a piece of cake. So here's how it started off. Turns out the first obstacle was this tiny little ledge I couldn't pass. Luckily, I found that with a little quick timing and precision, I could just fall around it and let myself clamber back on. It's a little bit tricky, but I got it down pretty easily. Now, since I couldn't jump, I couldn't get onto this main platform. I had to go underneath, and I started searching for a path that could bring me to the top. I ended up falling off the platform while looking around, and lo and behold, I spawned right on top of the platform. After these 2 wall climbs and this awkward little jump here, I discovered probably the first challenge. It's the double wall jump thing here. Like I said, I'm allowed to wall run, but that didn't bring me very far. After literally running across my room to get as far as I can, I got a few jumps that almost made it. But I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, even with the soda boost. After countless and countless attempts, I realized I'm going to need a different method. I looked around and saw that if I could get on top of one of the walls, I could probably walk off and land on the next section. Something I learned a couple months ago is how to extend yourself up when climbing something. Because there's this climbing wall right behind the wall run section, I grabbed onto the closest corner to the wall runs and started flinging my arms like crazy to make myself taller. If you don't know how to do this, basically if you put both hands in the air, bring one down and bring the other down, and eventually bring both hands back up, and then repeat that pattern, you will eventually send yourself sky high. I did that until I was tall enough to launch myself to the checkpoint frame, and from there, I walked to the middle and nearly made it to the top of the walls and dropped down to the next section. From there, I tried to do the same thing by flinging my arms up and to the left to bring me to the end platform, without realizing how stupid I was, because you can literally just go through the room. And boom! Level 1 complete. We almost got stuck, but luckily we beat it without jumping. Now, on to level 2. Unfortunately, earlier I lied. I said the first level was the hardest. It really wasn't. It's nothing compared to this level. It started, well, it didn't start. Level 2 starts with this wall jump, which normally is really easy to do, but because I'm crippled and can't jump, it was a little bit rough. Very rough.
You'll feel that in the morning.
Extremely rough. I ended up running into my walls, my desk, my bed, everything. I got so close a bunch of times, but I just couldn't quite get it. I tried getting onto these blocks up here to maybe get some higher elevation, but it really didn't seem that helpful. It was the only path, there was no other way to go. The level just began, and with no climbable parts, I couldn't do the extension glitch. So for now, we'll just have to skip this part. I'll come back later to it, but for now, we'll just have to do a single wall jump to get us across. The rest of the level was a piece of cake. All the paths were connected, the jump pads were there, the walls were climbable, everything was easy. It was just that beginning part that was holding me back. And after this awkward clamber from this cart, I made my way to the button with 10 seconds to spare.
10 seconds remaining.
Course 3 was, well, easy. Really easy. I've never had to wait for this car thing before. Also, look at this wall climb fail. I couldn't jump, so I didn't reach it. This is the only level that I finished with a mediocre time. Course 4 started out kind of like the first one, but with a thicker wall. I made my way up the walls and through these red blocks. This red bar thing was a little bit tricky, but eventually I got it down. There's actually a spot where you can stay without it hitting you, or you can also do it the dramatic way and lie down on your stomach. Then came this part, where you would get 3 rotating bars, 2 low and 1 high. I can duck under the high one, but because there's always going to be a low one, I had to get around it. It kept scraping me and I couldn't get past, but I settled for a different technique.
30 seconds remaining.
Level 5 was kind of funky. It wasn't too rough, but I got it handled down pretty easily. There's this part at the beginning that took a bunch of tries. I couldn't reach the thing because I'm short! I couldn't reach the thing because I wasn't fast enough, but eventually I grabbed onto it. Here's a skip that I know.
Checkpoint.
Now remember, just because I'm doing this challenge doesn't mean I don't suck at Stunt Runner. I'm still just as bad. Also, tell me how unsatisfying this is. Now came the final level. I made it past these weird jumps and climbs at the beginning until I started to panic because I couldn't jump across these 5 blocks. I soon realized that the water actually goes up and down, so I just fell and waited for the water to go across. Now came this part. There was a jump here that I couldn't quite clamber onto. There are 2 paths here. One of them had these 2 boxes that I tried to do the side clamber trick on, but it didn't quite work out. And on this side, I had to wall run just in time to make it to the next section. I started out first on the blocks, but didn't have much luck with that. The wall seemed to do the trick pretty easily, however. I also ended up making it on the boxes on a different attempt, so I guess it is possible. Now with only a little less than a minute, I had to start running at record speeds. And with no more jumps to deal with, I made it to the button with a really anticlimactic ending. I got C rank with a time of like 19 days, but that doesn't matter. I got to the end and I couldn't even get onto the podium! I did get my prize though, it was really weird grabbing it from that far. Now the only question left is, how do you beat level 2? Unfortunately, this is where the challenge ends. I couldn't just end the video there, right? I tried that level for several attempts, and I got some runs where I barely made it, but it just wasn't enough. I switched Guardians and tried running across the room to try to clamber on something. It just didn't seem to work. I tried everything. I looked around, there was nothing I could use to help. I maybe might have gotten closer if I could get onto these blocks here, but there was no way I could even get on them without jumping anyways. I tried to see if I could run on my camera or this water bottle, nothing happened. I even stood on a chair. It didn't really help though. And with no climbing bits before this, I couldn't do the glitch that I did in level 1. The only way I can think that can possibly beat this part without jumping is if I use Play Space Mover, which I don't have because I don't have a PSVR or Link nor a PC. But that would also need a lot of running in real life. If you have any ideas how I could pass this part, let me know in the comments below. So to answer the question, is it possible to beat Stunt Runner without your jump button? Technically, no, since you need to use it at least one time to jump off these walls to make it to the next section in level 2. But you know, I guess you could say that you only need to press your jump button one time to beat Stunt Runner. Either way, why would someone be stupid enough to try this challenge? I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.